What's up? So, Andor episode 11. This episode was a step back from the last episode. I mean, the last episode was the most exciting episode of the whole season, but this one just went back to its old ways. That prison escape was so interesting. It was so tense. The dialogue in episode 10 just hit way harder than any other episode in the show. And overall, it was just the most entertaining episode of the show. But this episode, you know, apart from the space battle, which was badass, Luthen's scene was badass. Other than that, it's just the same old good dialogue. People overrate the dialogue in this show so much. It's just good. It's good dialogue. It's nothing crazy. It's not Attack on Titan dialogue. It's just okay. It's alright. It's not the type of dialogue where you have to listen to every little thing every character says, else you might miss something. You're not going to miss anything by missing a bit of dialogue in each scene, honestly. You know, it sounds interesting, and it is interesting sometimes, but it's really not that deep. It's the same stuff like, oh, we're struggling against the Empire. Oh, we've lost loads of credits. Oh, we need more money to fund the guns and the machinery to really help us take down the Empire, and of course you're going to keep saying it because it's a big part of the show, but it's just not that interesting. Like, when there is action going down in this show, it surprises you. You forget that there can even be action in Star Wars. It just has constant talking. I tune in every week just for talking. I know people aren't going to like what I say. People aren't going to like this video because Andor lovers just don't understand why someone would not like this show. I don't understand that, because I'm not that keen on the show. I see that as good writing, great acting, and the shots, the camera work is amazing. The music's great. The budget is definitely bigger than any other show we've got from Disney Plus for Star Wars. But it's just boring to me, and it doesn't have the Star Wars themes. It doesn't follow George Lucas Star Wars and why everyone fell in love with Star Wars. People fell in love with Star Wars with the George Lucas movies and the Clone Wars. So the Andor lovers that are saying, oh, it's way better than anything we've got from Star Wars, and this is what Star Wars should always have been, doesn't make any sense, considering Star Wars made it to where it is because of the George Lucas movies. As soon as George Lucas made the first episode of the originals, it blew up. It was the biggest thing in the world. So I just don't understand why people don't understand why Andor is not as loved as the Clone Wars or the prequels or the originals. I just do not see how it's so hard to understand. I understand why people like the show. Like I said, great acting, great writing, great camera work. But to me, it's just boring. Other people might like that stuff a bit more. But for me, for Star Wars, it doesn't feel like Star Wars in that way. And the dialogue is not that encapsulating. It's not that interesting for me to just want to listen to 45 minutes of dialogue once a week. If it was Attack on Titan dialogue, I could listen to that all day because everything's important, everything's interesting. You want to hear what every character has to say because they always add something to the plot or to your imagination of what's going to happen, or they just expand on the theory you have. That's great dialogue in shows like that. But Andor just has good dialogue. People act like it's the best dialogue ever in any movie, any series. It's not. It's good, but it's not good enough for everyone to love it. You know, some people are going to be bored. Some people are just not going to be interested in what they're talking about. And you know, this is just how the show is. It's been 11 episodes and it's just continued on this boring path. I know there's character development. I know there's a lot of emotional scenes, especially in this episode near the end. I really like the ending of this episode. The ending of this episode was actually really good, including the space battle and Andor finding out that his mother passed away, and then the shot of the sea, like the open sea with him in the corner, that was beautiful. Yeah, he can't enjoy it. It's just a constant struggle. So yeah, it is well written and I appreciate that, but at the same time it is just boring and it's not Star Wars that I love. You don't have to have lightsabers. It doesn't have to have, I don't know, Jedi and Sith. You could just have some blaster battles, you know. There needs to actually be the war. We need to see this battle. We need to see the war, not them just talking about what they're going to do in a war. We haven't actually seen any of it. I thought we were going to see like Andor, a part of a whole army, trying to go against the Empire, maybe failing a lot. You know, we haven't seen him actually be a part of the rebellion, the start of the rebellion where it's like a small group. I know we had that one arc where him and a couple of other rebellions took down an Imperial outpost, but that was just minor. It didn't really feel like it impacted the Empire whatsoever. It's just an outpost. It is not that deep. It just really isn't. Okay, cool, he took down an Imperial outpost. I bet there's so many other groups of rebellions who have done the same thing, just off screen. You know, it's just an outpost. It's just alright. It's not going to affect the Empire in any way. It's just going to be like, oh wow, a group of people somehow got into an Imperial base. Oh well, it's just one of our little outposts on a useless planet. But at the same time, I do like that because it does show the scope of the world. So I appreciate it also. I do see that. There is value there, but it's just not that deep to me. Like, I appreciate that, but it shouldn't have been an arc. That was a full arc of it. I did not need to see that, honestly. So yeah, this episode, I'm sorry to say, people aren't going to like it. This show is boring to me. You know, I'd rather watch the prequels. You can say it's worse writing. even though it actually has really good writing, but the dialogue, I guess, is just a bit funky. I can see that, but that's how they spoke. They spoke like posh and weird, the Jedi did. They're like very old-fashioned and ancient in a way, by the way they speak. It's all very mystical. It's like a very mystical language where they use very big words when they don't need to and stuff. I understand. This show is a bit more relatable. The characters are more relatable, but it's Star Wars. Where's the wars? This is Star Talk right now. We're just talking. It's just talking about Star Wars. That's what it is. They're just talking about what they want to do against the Empire. Andor's just doing things in his daily life, getting arrested, escaping from prison and stuff like that. It's just not that meaningful to me. Like, really, what is episode 12 going to be? Is it going to be just a funeral? It's going to be the funeral where now Andor's going to come back for the funeral. Then the Empire are going to be there ready to capture him, and then he's going to have to fight to get away from that Imperial officer, the woman, and Cyril, the guy who loves cereal. Cyril, I should call him. They called him Cyril for a reason, because his main character trait is just his addiction to cereal. He seems to be more addicting than death sticks. I mean, how many times are you going to sit in his kitchen and get fucking spoken to by his mother, tell him how much of a failure he is, while he eats cereal depressed, and then a piece of his cereal falls off his spoon and there's a whole shot of him picking it up and throwing it back in his bowl. And yeah, that did happen. I'm sorry, this show is just whatever. I legitimately think that people are just settling for this show and are telling themselves that it's a great show. It's amazing, it's a masterpiece. This is how Star Wars should be. I understand why people do love it for its good writing, its good acting, its story, it's talking, I guess, but I just don't see it personally. But I understand why you like it. I don't understand why you think it's a masterpiece at all. I'm sorry, I don't feel that way. I disagree, but that's fine. You can have your opinion, I respect it. I'm happy you enjoy it more than I do. In fact, I wish I enjoyed it as much as you do. Anyway, it is what it is. I hate to have another negative review of this show mainly. You know, it's mainly negative, but it's just how I feel, and I'm not gonna lie. Even if you disagree with my take or think I'm crazy for not liking this show, you know, I'm always going to keep it real, so it is what it is. That's just how it is. But thank you for watching anyway. Comment down below if you agree or disagree with me. What did you like about the show? What's your favorite part? You know, what are you looking forward to in the next episode? Comment down below and I'll see you on the next one. See you later.